All right, we'll begin the next question with Bill Scanlon. And that's also on an education-related matter. One of the events that we're competing with tonight, other than the President's speech and the NFL pregame, is the open house at Briscoe Middle School. This reader would like to know what the candidates' plans are for building or renovating a new middle school. And I'd expand on that to say another need that has been frequently cited in the city is the need for a new police station. Are those doable at the same time, or does one have to take precedence over the other? Start with you, Bill.
Well, I think we have to start with the middle school because we have to generate a so-called statement of interest with the state school building authority. And they're not taking those right this minute, but soon they will begin accepting SOIs, or statements of interest. We have to have that because we need their participation in funding the school. With this school, we got roughly $3 out of every 5 from the state, and we put in the other 2. And we hope to do exactly the same, or maybe even a little better, with the middle school. Once we get that in, it will take about 2 years to do the full design and preparation of construction drawings for the middle school project. Now, at the same time, the police station of the future is one we already have a design for, but the regional dispatch, which will be in effect in 2 years' time, will allow the police station to be smaller in terms of space and equipment, and therefore less expensive to build than otherwise. So it's my expectation that approximately 4 years from now, because a lot of debt service from the Ayers School and the Hannah School and the Cove School will be running off, that we will be able to tackle both projects, probably the school 1 year earlier than the police station, but by the end of the decade, we should have both of them completed.
Okay. Mike?
Thank you. Things that we need to do right now. One is, we just built this school, and we needed a new school too soon because over time, historically, the maintenance for this building wasn't done. So what we need to do in Beverly is we need a line item every year for our capital assets, our capital buildings, to maintain them and make sure they last throughout their full lifetime and beyond. With that said, yes, we can't stay in Briscoe too much longer without having to put some significant investments there. So the middle school needs to be the top priority. The police station, I agree, is next. And the mayor just said, concurrent, consecutive. I think what we're all looking at is trying to generate new economic growth, new revenues, to push that start date up on the first project, recognizing that we will also have some debt service come off the books eventually. My goal is to break ground in the middle school as soon as possible. The more new growth we can get, the more that could be aggressively pushed up. And then as far as the police station, it's not clear as to where it would be sited. It's also not clear as to what would be the best future use for Briscoe once the middle school goes into Memorial. And so there may be some overlap and some opportunity to do things there.
Thank you. Rick?
If we would have refurbished the 1965 high school for $14 million, we probably wouldn't even be bringing this issue up right now because there'd be monies there for the fire station and the middle school. But unfortunately, that was not the agenda for some of the school administrations and some of the private citizens. What I would do is refurbish the Memorial School for 7th, 8th, and 8th graders. In the McEwen School, elementary school, they could put the 6th graders there as long as they fit. If the majority of them do not fit, then they could put them in the Memorial Middle School. That will save a lot of money by doing that. That's one way you could do it there. Or the 6th graders can go where I believe they belong. They belong back in the elementary schools, not with the 7th and 8th graders. Some of the mouths on these kids nowadays when they come home, it's just unbelievable. Nothing like what we heard when we were younger. That's when our parents could get our undivided attention also. Reference to the police station, if the McEwen School, if they're not going to use that for the 6th graders, that can be called the McEwen Public Safety Facility. And they can retrofit that for the police station. It meets all the handicap requirements, and basically it's up to state code right now. One thing they will have to do is they'll have to add a portion for the fire engines that could go in there. But that's one area I would look at. And for money-wise, that's going to be fair and reasonable since we've invested the majority of our monies in the smaller high school that we have right now. That's all.
Thank you. Tim?
I'm glad everybody's talking about keeping our schools up to date and maintained, because when I was council president, I worked hard to consolidate school functions and city functions and to make it more effective and cost savings, and we've done that. Now we just need to move forward on some other things with the schools, but I'm glad we're talking about that because it's a very important issue, because maintaining our facilities is very important so it doesn't cost us more money in the long run. I appreciate Mayor Scanlon's ambitious schedule of 4 years for a new middle school, but I'm not too sure how realistic that is. We do need to start planning with that intent letter, but I'm not too sure if we can afford to do that, and then also, because that's going to cost us about 35 to 40 million state money, and then hopefully get, like the mayor said, 50 to 60% reimbursement, and then a year or two later build a police station at a cost of 12 to 15 million. I think you can do some innovative things, like Rick said, maybe doing something with McEwen, maybe turn that into a police station and use McKay School. You got to think creatively. I do know we have land down at the Cumming Center for a new police station. Whether that's going to be a police station, I believe it costs us about $600,000 for that design money for a combined facility. And whether we go with that route or not is another thing. If we do go with a combined facility, we have to talk about moving our fire stations, which I'm not too sure is the right, whether we can afford that or not as well. So it's very ambitious that we could do this, but we also need, if a middle school is going to be built in Mayor Scanlon's schedule in 4 years, which I think is kind of unrealistic, it's more like 6 years, I think we need to also maintain our middle school right now.
Okay, great. Bill, then Mike.
Point of clarification, I was saying that we would start construction in 4 years and probably have it in 6 years. A second point, we do have the land at the Cummings site. It's 2 acres, and we can only use that land for a police or fire station or a combination of the two, and that would be the logical place to build the facility because it would not take land off the tax rolls. Right now, we get nothing from that land, so that makes all the sense in the world to use that site. As far as the project here, rehabbing this versus going through with the project of a new academic wing, one must remember that there were 11 different floor levels in the high school, and there was no way under the sun to make it fair and accessible for a disabled child. So we had to go the route we did go. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to?
Sure, thanks. I just want to say, in terms of timetables, clearly we need to be aggressive about pursuing new growth, and the middle school is a high priority. It's a need. To have a modernized middle school facility in Beverly is what we need to do next. So we need to build that not 1 minute too soon and not 1 minute too late. You know, as soon as we can fiscally responsibly do it, we need to do it. And I think that's what we're all saying in different ways up here.
Thank you. Rick, did you
Well, in reference to what Mayor Scanlon said about the handicap accessible, I don't know what, that's just completely false. That's just unbelievable he'd come out and say that. We could have made it handicap accessible. If that's the only reason, we wasted a lot of money. And the other thing I need to say, when you talk about the state and the state the state's going to pay so much money, the last time I looked at my wallet, my money goes to the state too. So it's basically doing the exact same thing. It's coming out of the citizen's pocket.
Thank you. No, Tim, go ahead.
Building a new school just on the handicap accessibility was not the only reason, but the reason why I wanted to clarify is I still think we cannot forget about the present middle school, because again, that school is in deplorable condition, and the parents who send their kids there, yes, we're going to build, if we want to do it in 4, 6, 8 years when we can afford it, we still need to maintain that school, and it won't be cheap at sometimes, because that school is very old and it needs a lot of help. We talked to try to teach in that school because of the overcrowding, but also the facilities make it very inadequate sometimes to teach in that school.
Thank you.